Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Wayne County. We are a diverse congregation that welcomes you as you are, regardless of your age, ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, economic status, or physical ability. We come together to seek deeper meaning and understanding from each other and the world around us. Your presence here today is a gift that brings us closer to that understanding. We're an active community that lives its values beyond the hours of Sunday service, and I would like to call your attention to the following. On Sundays, during coffee hour, Remy and Conan will have a table about a dedicated LGBTQ plus safe space and education curriculum for UUFWC. I was looking to see if they were here, but I don't think they're over there. Oh, there she is back there. Just look for her. Sorry, they. Sorry. I'm a boomer, I forget things. Okay. The table will have an anonymous question box for folks who may want to ask questions that way. June 21st, 7 p.m. at the UU lot, there will be a summer solstice service led by Conan LeMay. We will be focusing on the sun's energy as we transition into summer, while also getting rid of that negativity that may be holding you back. The service will involve packing various herbs into cardboard tubes and throwing them into a fire. This is a warning for people with sensory issues. Join us afterwards for s'mores. A request has been made to hang a Progress Pride flag by our sign on Burbank Road. As per our current sign policy, the board will be listening to your concerns, comments, questions regarding the flag for the next 2 weeks. You can email your questions to the entirety of the board at board@uufwc.org, or you can ask board members after the service. Are there any present board members here right now? Could you stand up just so people see your face? Yeah, so you can talk, there's a lot of them, so you can talk to those people. On July 2nd, after the service, there will be a congregational vote regarding the display of that flag. If you are not able to attend the service but would like to have a proxy vote in your place, you can find proxy forms in the office. If you would like to find out more about our activities, feel free to ask Karen Skubik, right over there, our membership coordinator after the service.
Good morning all, and welcome to our visitors and anybody who hasn't been here in a while from out of town. I know there's a lot of hugging going on in the lobby, and so if I can just call attention to Greg and Sandy Sheffield. So it's so nice to have you here. For those who don't know them, they were very involved with the music program. Greg was the director of our music for when he was here. And they haven't been here since it has been expanded, so they're really excited to see the place. And I'd also like to welcome anyone that's new here, who's never been here before, and give you the opportunity to stand up and introduce yourself if you want to. That's not required, but then we can get to know you a little better after the service, people who can see who you are. Anybody like that? Okay, back here.
Hi, I'm Caroline.
Hi, Caroline. It's great to have you here. Welcome. And nice to see Karen here in the little baby carriage there for the second time. All right, our newest member. Anybody else? All right, good to have you all here.
Now I would ask you to open your minds and silence your cell phones for our time together. Should have asked that before. Okay, our chalice lighting this morning is titled Only Begun by William Sinkford. Spirit of life and love, dear God of all nations, there is so much work to do. We have only begun to imagine justice and mercy. Help us hold fast to our vision of what can be. May we see the hope in our history and find the courage and the voice to work for that constant rebirth of freedom and justice. That is our dream. Amen. Let us now rise in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, We Are Building a New Way. The music can be found in the teal hymnal number 1017.
I will, there. I was about to say, I did not want to have to pull out the actor voice. Please join me now in the spirit of meditation and prayer. Today is Father's Day. It is a day where we often celebrate a figure in our lives who is often a source of strength, often a source of love that can be difficult to parse at times. Many of us have complicated relationships with fathers. For those of you who had strong men in your lives who you know loved you, who were not afraid to hug you so tight that your ribs cracked, rejoice in those memories. Whether your father is here with you on this world or living in your heart. For those of you who had fathers that were absent, whether emotionally or physically, know that you were always loved, that you are good enough, and that your worth is not contingent on that one love. and for those who have just become fathers. We wish you joy on this journey. We wish you the love between you and your child that will grow stronger. Spirit of life and of love, let us know that those who raised us do not define us. And many of us were lucky to have loving figures in our lives. And that no matter what, we are worthy. We are loved. May it be so. And I want to take a minute to lift up some joys and sorrows for the congregation. First, I would like to lift up the joy that Jonathan and Vicky share with the congregation, bringing their young child into the world, and all of the love and support they got from this congregation, helping them out as they got their feet under them with the lack of sleep a newborn brings. They are so thankful for the gifts of this congregation and the love that was given to them. And we have some sorrows to share. Vicky Dutter, her ex-husband Casey, died of a heart attack recently. There will be a service on Tuesday. She holds her daughter especially in her heart, the daughter they share, as they go through this tough time. Any love and appreciation to give to Vicky is appreciated. Many of you know Preston Beery, the scrappy little guy who will tell you all about his cats. Preston is currently in the hospital with some complications, and they're still trying to figure things out. I'm hoping to be in more contact with his mother, Sammy, and dad, Tony. But I think it would be a good idea if you can find a greeting card with a cat on it and send it to Preston to let him know we are thinking of him. For all of the other joys and sorrows left unsaid, I invite you now, as we sing Spirit of Life, I'm going to move these drums a little bit, to come to our altar. And if there is a sorrow weighing on your heart, place it on the stone and let it go. For sorrow shared are sorrows divided. And if there is a joy that lifts your step, and how could there not be on this beautiful day? Place it on the stone. Drop it in the water. For joy shared are joys multiplied. Please join me in singing Spirit of Life as we place stones in the water.
Our faith is centered on the belief that we can make this world a better place for all who dwell in it. In order to realize that vision, we need both the motivation and the means. Your donation helps the community put its faith into action by supporting our programming and our facilities. This morning and throughout the month of June, donations that are not designated for another purpose will be split with the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank, who provides food and other essential items to member hunger relief programs in 8 Northeast Ohio counties: Carroll, Holmes, Medina, Portage, Stark, Summit, Tuscarawas, and Wayne. These member programs operate 500 food pantries, hot meal sites, shelters, and other hunger relief programs in the neighborhoods and communities where people need food. The offering will now be collected and gratefully received. Join me now in this unison reading. The words are on the screen. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for those who share our gifts with us, for we are enriched by their giving. Let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others. The reading this morning is Pride Means Love by Xenia Maurice. Pride means love. Maybe it's cliche to say a phrase so simple that can run so deep, like the currents in our body, as we navigate how to exist, live, and be in this world. A phrase so many have fought for and continue to fight for. A phrase that has seen children kicked out of their homes when they needed their parents the most. A phrase that has seen people find a chosen family and a new place to call home. Pride and love are intertwined like the embrace of a hug, like holding hands, like bodies on the dance floor. Love is loving yourself enough to accept and see the beauty of who you are. Pride is loving yourself enough to advocate for yourself, your freedom, and your expression.
Phrase that has seen people find a chosen family. Chosen family. It's a term that I'm sure many of us are familiar with. I'm willing to bet a lot of us have probably used that term. Let's face it, many of us here either grew up or knew someone with family members that are problematic, parents, siblings, relatives that have been unable to accept us for who we truly are. I know there are plenty of folks who are part of the UU community who lost family members just because they didn't believe in the same God as their family. It seems over the last 10 years, with the tribalism of politics, that we've seen more and more people looking for chosen family. And my biggest, dearest hope is that on Sunday morning, you walk into this building or tune into us on YouTube and you can say, "This is my chosen family." And it should surprise absolutely none of y'all that this term originates in the LGBTQ plus community. Kath Weston, who is an author, is credited with coining the term in 1991 in her book, Families We Choose, Lesbians, Gays, Kinship. And while I'm sure that is the first published instance of that phrase being used, I am willing to bet it had been floating around the LGBTQ community for quite some time before that, as often happens with language. For decades, the LGBTQ plus community, in the 70s especially, had been abandoned by their families of origin. And they could only find support in each other. This was especially true in the 70s of the members of the Black and Latino LGBTQ plus community. Not only did they come from religious traditions that particularly ostracized them for who they were, it was hard for them to find homes in the white gay community. And so in response, many of them came together and formed chosen families, living together under one roof, under the guidance of a house mother or father who was an elder in the LGBTQ plus community. There were even instances where they would adopt the same last name to show strength and their bond and love with each other. Anybody familiar with the House of LaBeija? One. The House of LaBeija is in New York City. It started around 1972, and it still exists today as a safe haven for drag queens and trans folks of color, and of course a few white people now. There's actually a documentary about it. It's like a 10-minute short film. It's not out yet, but it's been in some film festivals. This shows that this need to have that family has been strong and has deep roots. To paraphrase the poet Robert Frost, family is where they have to take you in. And in this instance, where so many LGBTQ plus folks lost the family of blood that was supposed to behave that way, they created a new one. And they did what family is supposed to do. These chosen familial bonds only became stronger in the 80s with the AIDS crisis. Now, LGBTQ plus folks needed not only emotional support, but they needed physical and financial support as well. For those of you too young to have lived through the AIDS crisis, and I think there's a few of y'all here, you have to understand in the 80s, when AIDS was first coming out, that this virus led to a long and lingering, painful death. And there was a lot of misinformation about how this disease was transmitted. We know now that AIDS is primarily transmitted through sexual contact and blood transfusions, but For those first few years, there were people who thought being in the same room with an AIDS patient was a death sentence. I want you to think about what it must have been like to be chosen family, to have somebody who is not technically your blood relative, but who you've adopted, who is now in a position of suffering and could kill you, at least from what you've been told. How easy would it be to abandon them? And how many people chose to double down on their chosen family and to stick around and to love them fiercely, to keep the love going? Because family is where they have to take you in. It is Pride Month. And there's been a few Pride celebrations already in Ohio. There's been one in Cleveland, one in Columbus, I think just this last weekend. Any of you know where I live? Come on, this is Worcester. There you go. Any of you seen the flag outside my house lately? Right? I've got a brand new flag. I had a Black Lives Matter flag that's been hanging up there for about, yes, I know, William, you know where I live. I've had a Black Lives Matter flag hanging outside my month since I moved into Worcester, and I have now replaced it with a Progress Pride flag due to Pride Month. I felt like I needed to show support. And I'm not sure yet if the Black Lives Matter flag is going back up in July, and I will get to that in a minute. And some of you may have noticed there's a flag in our foyer now. Anybody notice that? It's a little high, so it's out of eyesight, right? It's a great big Progress Pride flag that has been hanging up in the lobby since Friday. A congregant requested we hang one for Pride. And the board talked about it on Tuesday, voted to approve it. Yep. And so now it is up, thanks to Juan, Jeff Gokenhauer, and Raven, right? Put it up. June is when the allies show up for the LGBTQ community, right? This is where we show up. How many of you know about what's going on next Sunday on the 25th? Okay, for those of you who didn't raise your hand, that is when we're doing the Pride Picnic. And I can't say we. There is a Pride Picnic at Christmas Run Park at 1 p.m. We are not organizing it, but we are participating in it. We actually have a table, and I will be handing out stickers and pamphlets and talking to folks and letting people know that there is a spiritual community out there who loves you for who you are, right? This is what we do during Pride Month. This is the role of an ally. Or I don't like the term ally much. I like the term accomplice much better. It's a little bit more actionable, right? And I want to encourage all of us to continue to do that very real, needed, necessary allyship work. And I want to warn you of the dangers of allyship. When I was working in Arlington, there was a young woman of color named Whitney. Whitney's job, her literal job, is she would go to organizations, corporations, religious affiliations, whatever, and she would show them systems of white supremacy in their institutions and try to help them overcome and overturn systems of white supremacy. It was very exhausting work for a young professional black woman to do. Why would that be exhausting, you may ask? Because there were a lot of really good, wonderfully intentioned white folks who would ask questions which were so unintentionally hurtful to this woman. And she soldiered on. She always said, "I'm too inspired to be tired." Loved you, Whitney, man. And one of the things she would say One of the things she would say to me, she's like, I love my white allies. I do. You're great people. And I don't trust you. Now, as the white guy, or one of the many white guys in the room, I'm a little offended by this. Why don't you trust me? I'm an ally. I'm here, aren't I? Isn't that enough? No. Because she would go on to say, when you get tired, when this is no longer fashionable, when it gets dangerous, you leave. Or you can leave. And I'm still black. I'm still under threat. I don't have that option. I love the work you do, but you are an ally, and allies have an out. And during Pride Month, when it comes to LGBTQ plus issues, I don't want us to just be allies anymore. The good thing is, I've talked to a lot of you, and I think many of you are on this very same page, vehemently so. I want us to be family. I want us to be family for the LGBTQ plus community right now, because that community right now, in this moment, needs strong, unwavering support of a family that unconditionally loves because of the attacks they are currently under. I did a little Googling. According to the Human Rights Campaign, as of May 2nd of this year, for the year 2023, May 2nd, January 1st to May 2nd, that's what, 4 months. In that 4-month span, over 540 anti-LGBTQ plus bills have been introduced to state legislatures across the United States. 220 of these bills specifically target transgender and non-binary folks. 45 anti-LGBTQ laws have been enacted. 13 of them banning gender-affirming care for youth. 3 requiring people to misgender students who are transgender in schools. 2 censoring curriculum and books. All of this in the first 4 months of 2023 alone. And how's Ohio doing? You are right to shake your head, James. Ohio currently has 6 bills advancing that discriminate. And of course, you know, being a good UU, I can't just leave that. I have to tell you what they are. House Bill 183. It's a bathroom bill. Makes students use the restroom of the gender they were assigned at birth. House Bill 151 bans trans girls from sporting events and also discourages diversity education. House Bill 83 is a companion bill to 151 banning diversity education in colleges. House Bill 8, joyfully called the Parents' Bill of Rights, would eliminate sexually inappropriate, that means gay, material from being taught. House Bill 6 is another bill trying to prevent trans girls from participating in sports. House Bill 68, banning gender-affirming health care for minors. None of these bills have passed yet. They're in progress. They're on their way. Friends, we are at a point in time where allies are nice. But what is needed is the unconditional, unstoppable, fierce love of family. A group of folks who won't get bored with the cause, who won't leave when things get hard and will always be there. This is why I am probably not putting that Black Lives Matter flag up right away. It will be back eventually. I may have to my wife's chagrin, get 2 flagpoles. We'll see about that. And while there will always be discrimination, well, let's not hope always, but while there's been a constant oppression of Black Americans, right now the attack on the LGBTQ community is immediate, intense, and institutional. Our family needs us, and we are not silent in a family's time of need. Now, if you were paying attention to this morning's announcements, as I'm sure all of you were, you may have noticed the last one in regards to putting up a Progress Pride flag by our sign on Burbank Road. The current policy is that all signage not regarding specific congregational events like Madrigal or the garage sale have to have 2 weeks of consideration with concerns being brought to members of the board in that time. After the 2 weeks, there will be a congregational vote about whether or not to hang the flag, July 2nd. I hope you write to the board. I hope you talk to your board members about this. And I want you to tell them your stance on this, especially if you have concerns. Because you have every right to be concerned about this. This rise in anti-LGBTQ plus sentiment has led to dangerous events. Groups like the Proud Boys and Patriot Front have been protesting drag shows and open carrying while they do so, like they did in Columbus. If we put a Progress Pride flag by our street sign where everyone can see it, some people will be upset. We may open ourselves up to vandalism. There is a possibility, a very small possibility, that one day we could have protesters in our parking lot. It's small. It is really small. And it's not zero. I mean, it does help to remember that we have a police station like a stone's throw away. They could walk to respond to the call and still be here in a timely fashion. And there is risk. There is risk involved. Don't forget that. Because we have to remember that living our faith out loud has always been risky. In a world that rewards oppression and injustice is the rule of the day, to live a life of interdependence, to live a life of acceptance, to live a life of radical love is an act of defiance. To work for the well-being of others has always been a risk. And that is the difference between an ally and family. Family fully understands what's involved. Family knows the work will be hard. If we place that flag by our sign, we can let the LGBTQ plus community know that we want them as part of our family, that we want to be part of their family, and not just for Pride Month, not just when the sun is shining, not just what's inconvenient. We will do more than just take you in during your time of need. We will live and love radically and understand fully that the needs of the LGBT community are our needs as well. May we never forget that. And may that be so. For our closing hymn, I'm going to give you a history lesson. This was written by Holly Near in response to the murder of Harvey Milk, the first gay man to openly serve public office in California. The fifth verse was originally, "We are gay and lesbian together," but Near changed it to "We are gay and straight together" in order to be a little bit more inclusive. And that's what's currently printed in the hymnal. But in 2017, Near changed the lyrics again, stating that we are learning more and more about gender and sexuality and now requires more syllables than I can fit into the song. So let us now sing, "We are all in this together" instead. That is the lyric as it should be appearing on the screen. Please rise in body and sing joyfully and proudly. We are a gentle, angry people.
Singing
The benediction this morning comes from Sean Parker Dennison. Blessing for kin. I wish you a single story. Not a simple fairy tale with only happiness, but one life without secrets or omissions, without the need for fake faces, one pointed outward, the other inward and real. I wish for you the twin beauties of clarity, consistency, knowing the singular word that holds all of you together, all of you at once, all of you. I wish you no need to hide, no reason to live in shadows or half-truths, no need to cover the spark and sparkle in your heart, to keep it from catching the light of the sun or moon. I wish you wholeheartedness that arises from the liberty before needing to be freed, the completeness that precedes breaking, the integrity of your being, a unity, undivided, boundless. I wish you a far-reaching welcome from within, full and absolute acceptance. Nothing withheld from yourself, unrealized or unfinished. And I wish you a place and a people who do not want you in pieces, incomplete and partial. A world that no longer asks anyone to wrench apart their heart or divide soul from mind, from nature, from core. I bless you with all that is whole.